They're Doug from Tau Stats, and we just got off the Novelty Search call where Const gave an introduction to dtao in its most recent form. And at the end of that Novelty Search, there was a request in the chat saying, hey, how can I do this? Could someone create a video on how I can install the Bittensor CLI and play with all of the different features that are part of dtao? So here we are. We're going to do it. Um, in Const's instructions, he uses a virtual environment to install the Bittensor CLI. That's a good practice. He used VENV to do that. I tried it and I always struggle with VENV, so I'm going to use Conda to create my virtual environment. So to get started on this, I'm doing this on a Mac. If you're on Windows, it'll be a little bit different. If you're on Linux, it'll be less different. But you're going to need Python installed on your machine, and then you're going to want to create a virtual environment. And the reason for that is I have virtual environments using production, the BTCLI, and I don't want to put the one that's pointing towards testnet and with dtao enabled for all the stuff that I need to do on the production version of Bittensor. So I'm going to use Conda. You can do a quick internet search on how to install Conda or VENV or even Python if you're not that far along. But we're just going to start with creating our virtual environment. I'm going to use Conda to create RAW3, and that's because I've done this video a couple times practicing. All right, so I've now created my virtual environment. I'm now going to activate RAW3. All right, so that's activated. I'm now in my new virtual environment. Now I'm going to install the version of Bittensor, the Bittensor CLI that connects both the testnet and has all of the dtao features installed. So that's pip install Bittensor equals version 8.5.1.rc2. All right, it's all installed. We're good to go. We'll just clear off the screen here a little bit so we can get started. Using the BTCLI, the command is BTCLI. And the cool thing about it is if you're not sure what to do, you can always just type help. So we have a bunch of commands here. I mean, you can look at the version and get help. But we're going to look at subnets mostly. I don't actually have a Tau wallet with any testnet in it, so I can't do any staking commands. I can't stake into the different subnets. That will be a video for tomorrow, I guess. But let's just look at the subnets because that's what's interesting right now. Sudo is generally for validators or people doing things on the root subnet. Wallet is if you've got wallets with testao. I don't. Stake, again, you need to have testao. And the config is a cool feature. You can configure the way the BTCLI works on in your terminal. There's instructions on all of that at docs.taustats.io if you want to see how to configure that and you're curious on that. But let's just go right into subnets. BTCLI S and then help. Right, we're not sure what to do, and I'm typing S because it's aliased, and typing subnet or subnets, I'm probably likely to write sunbet, and then that's really embarrassing on a video. Okay, so these are the commands we can do, and hyperparameters lists all the different hyperparameters of the subnet, right? Like, do they have commit reveal turned on? What's the tempo? All those different things. We're not so worried about that. We're really interested in the dtao stuff. So what we really want to do, show is going to show the metagraph. So we could do that. We could do BTCLI subnet show. And then it's going to ask us which subnet we want to look at. Let's just do one. And this will show us all of the validators and miners in the emission that they're getting. So we can see the subnet owner. We can see the emission of that subnet. And the price of that alpha, and then how much tau and how much alpha is in the subnet pool, where you take your tau and you buy alpha through the subnet pool. And so we can see all of the different validators and miners that are present on subnet 1. And so we can see, actually, since I have recorded this, we've got a bunch of people who have staked a lot of tau into subnet 1. We've got we have several thousand tau staked. Okay, so that's interesting. Subnet list is going to show all of the subnets. And as you may know, in Tau Stats Live, there's 64 subnets. In the testnet, there's like 200 some of them. So this is going to be a really big list here. And I guess I have my font really, really large, so it's showing up on maybe what I'll do is I will make this a little bit smaller and clear my screen and run that again. Maybe if I make my screen a little bigger, maybe it'll show up if I make my screen a little bit bigger. Let's try that first. That looks better. And then I think if I do this, all the numbers appear on the screen. All right, so let's go up to the top here. Net UID, the name of the token, alpha, tau, beta, right, all the way out to all of the different, it looks like we're up to 130. I think they've numbered, come up with letters of the price. And so the price is based on how much tau and how much alpha is in the subnet pool. So tau in divided by alpha in. Market cap is the amount of alpha that exists, the supply times the price, right? So if it's 1 times 5 million, you get a price of 5 million. The emission is how much tau is being injected into the pool every single block. There's 1 alpha being injected in the pool and 1 alpha being injected into the stake every single block. And so we can see how much tau and how much alpha is in the pool. This divided by this gives us the price. And we can see the supply. So this is just giving us an idea of what's going on inside dtao. There's another cool feature here, and I couldn't get it to work, but let's see if it'll work right now. And that's the live version of this. And this, I believe, is going to update every single 12 seconds. So you can see live these different values updating over time. Yes, you can, and you can actually see some of the changes. This looked a lot better when Const was demoing it, and it may just be my screen because I've got it enlarged so much, but it looked better. It may just be my version of the terminal that I'm running. But what this is doing is it's updating, so you can see the changes over time, and you can actually see these negatives and these positives, right? That there's tau, the amount of tau is decreasing. You can see the amount of tau here is decreasing, and the amount of alpha is increasing in the pool over the blocks. And you can see the amount of alpha in over here is increasing as well. A quick overview on the BTCLI, how it's used. Again, the the dash help is super informative. If you're not sure exactly what to do, you can always add that dash help, and it will give you feedback on what you can do, what commands you can run, and what all the headers mean. It's all listed there in the help. A lot of the BTCLI commands are documented on TauStats. If you're interested in configuring your BTCLI, you can read all about that at our docs.taustats.io. And thanks for watching.